Welcome in everyone to today's session. Enterprise Risk Management 101 is what we're referring to this as. We're going to go over concepts of enterprise risk management in today's economy and elements of how it might be employed within your organization. We'll talk about the benefits of enterprise risk management and some of the challenges. And then I will have a second session that'll go into a little bit further detail about how you can maybe right-size ERM for your organization. I'm your facilitator and presenter. My name is Lynn Fountain. I'm a subject matter expert in various areas such as internal audit, Sarbanes-Oxley, enterprise risk management, governance and fraud, and compliance. I have over 30 years of experience in accounting as well as the finance and compliance industry. I've been a past chief audit executive for 2 international companies in which both I worked with the concepts of ERM. In one of the companies, my group actually facilitated a lot of the ERM process. So I have a lot of experience there, as well as then as a consultant, I've been able to help multi-million-dollar companies establish their ERM processes really from ground up. So a lot of my information here is coming from actual application. I'm a recognized author and speaker. I have 2 books that are about to be published. One is through the Institute of Internal Auditors Research Foundation, and it's called Raise the Red Flag. It will be an auditor's guide to evaluating for fraud processes. The second book is going to be titled The Realities of Performing the Chief Audit Executive Role in Today's Economy, and there's a lot of realities to that. So I go through challenges and possible alternatives for executing the role. That should be out in the fall of 2015. My website is listed on this slide as well as my Gmail account. I invite you to reach out and ask me any questions that you may have. I'm always happy to converse with people, and also invite you to look at my website. So with that, let's get started about ERM, as we call it, 101 in our old college days, right? You know, the questions of ERM and what they pose really are simple and very straightforward. You know, what are the most significant risks to your organization, and how are you going to manage those? And ERM really kind of facilitated and came out probably around, became more prevalent after the Sarbanes-Oxley years. And we're now hearing concepts of GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, which is kind of an umbrella over ERM. But the concept of ERM was really not that people go out there and create these elaborate risk registers, which we see a lot of companies doing, and doing all the intricacies of developing impact and likelihood. Those are still elements, but it's really simplistically, what are the most relevant risks to your organization that could keep you from meeting your objectives? And on top of that, emerging risks in your organization. So thinking about it that way, ask yourself the question, why does implementing ERM seem such a daunting challenge for many organizations? Well, it's difficult because of a lot of reasons that I just mentioned. People think of it as risk registers. They think of it as a brand new initiative, and they launch into these big questionnaires. There's massive tracking of ERM and risks if you have too many, risks, if you develop a risk register of 100 plus risks. So those are all some of the challenges that organizations face and why ERM sounds like it's a really daunting effort. So in today's session, we're going to go through some various things. I'm going to go a little bit through what I call ERM 101, which really, what's the purpose of ERM and what are some of the definitions behind it. And then we'll talk about defining and developing maybe a right-sized ERM process to meet your company's objectives. And I'm just going to basically go into that a bit because I'll have a second session that will talk more to right-sizing ERM for your company. No 2 companies are the same, so it's really hard to take one particular company's model and reproduce it for your organization. We'll also talk about a specific concept that's very, very important to enterprise risk management, and that's really understanding what I call risk appetite as well as risk tolerance. Then I'm going to give you some thoughts in regards to a framework. And, I think of a framework like a path or a guide to tell you what steps to take next. and it'll be a framework to help you kind of figure out what steps you need to take to implement ERM. Then, of course, we'll talk about roles and accountabilities and responsibilities throughout the organization. And that's one of the challenges that you'll hear me talk about a little bit later, is that people have difficulties kind of breaking off those political barriers and those silos. And then we'll talk a little bit about ERM awareness and why that is so important in today's economy.